No Game, No Life, Volume 7, Theoretical Start, Part 1. Imagine you're online, playing an FPS. You're standing on a vista where you can see out onto a carefully designed stage, far off into the distance. Atop a low hill, overlooking all the chaos of gunfire. Such an elegant sight. You can't help saying to yourself, some human garbage, as you find in your hands a sniper rifle. Those of you unfamiliar with firearms and the usage need not worry. A sniper rifle is exactly what it says, a rifle for sniping. If you were to look up snipe in the dictionary, you would see that it means to shoot precisely from a distance, whereas a gun used in an assault would be defined as an assault rifle. No matter how you spin it, a sniper rifle can only be a gun used to shoot precisely from a distance. Yes, a gun just for you, to snipe with abandon at all the masses below. Now, we've cleared that up, so slowly sink into position and ready your gun. And now, try shooting off the heads of the 20 or 30 suckers you see through your scope. As soon as you're done, you're sure to be greeted by a roar of thunderous applause. "F you, pussy sniper! Punk-ass noob!" And so on and so forth. A dreamlike chorus of diverse voices sing together in hot, passionate rage. What just happened? You used a sniper rifle to snipe, and they got mad at you. End of story. You don't get it? You think it's absurd? As it so happens, that is exactly what they thought back then as a pure and innocent boy. WTF? He wondered as he collapsed dramatically on his keyboard and wept. However, as much as it pains me to say it, there is nothing absurd about this story. It is simply the story of one who has defied convention, and for that was naturally rebuked. All games have conventions, the best techniques that have been established, in theory, according to the game's rules and specifications. In their respective games, these are tantamount to invaluable precepts of courtesy. And yet, should one carelessly defy them and rashly fly in their face, what would happen? The answer is this. That boy who once wept at the passionate, raging chorus, and now he was a young man. Today, as ever, running around the game with a gun in hand. He thought to himself, indeed, to lie in wait and snipe people, called turtling, is an effective tactic. But if everyone thought that way and used that tactic, there would be no game. It was like how endlessly passing the ball among teammates was not against the rules of soccer. It was like how endlessly swirling pieces around to provoke the opponent was not against the rules of chess. But in a multiplayer game, there was an unspoken agreement. If you defy convention, you're gonna piss people off. If everyone did as they pleased, the result would be inevitable. There had to be such conventions. Should one casually defy them, isn't it only natural that one would be cursed out, even flamed? Manners, grace, these are essential to human beings. Say no to shooting corpses. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Perhaps if he had been raised properly, he might have agreed with them, these conventions. However, the young man had instead been hopelessly raised into the kind of deadbeat, shut-in gamer you wouldn't want to be seen with anywhere. Then why did they even include sniper rifles? He spat, gum in hand, wildly scattering claymores and sentry guns as per usual. Amidst the slander from other players, he skipped from base to base and carried out turtling and sniping with a smile on his face. He didn't really give a shit for the conventions of noobs who claimed that this killed the game. A convention, by definition, is a move used by the weak to confound the strong, a strategy, and moreover... At that moment, one uber individual came at him with a knife, having broken through his traps and sniper rifle. What was I just saying? Yeah, that's right. Convention. It exists only to be blown away to smithereens. Just like this. The young man looked at the person who had just taken him out in one kill and burst out laughing before sending out a message. Dude, that was sick. All games have conventions, the best techniques that have been established, in theory, according to the game's rules and specifications. In their respective games, these are tantamount to inviolable precepts of courtesy. And yet, should one carelessly defy them and rashly fly in their face, what would happen? The answer is this. Over 60 years ago, on a remote hill in what would come to be called the Eastern Union, a small golden fox girl looked up at the heavens with a wilted gaze and thought. The scarlet moon set as if on a stage, the sky wreathed in night at its edge, the giant chess piece that pierced the heavens and cast its shadow over the earth, visible from any point of the planet. It was said that the god who resided at its peak had, over 6,000 years ago, set forth the 10 Covenants, and declared, "The world has changed." But the girl, her golden eyes clouded over, thought to herself, "You lying scallywag." The Great War had concluded, war had ceased to be, and rights were assured to all. They would never again have to live in fear of violence, nor suffer any longer. That was a lie. It was a lie, all of it. The whole thing was a damn lie. If war had ceased to be, then why are we still fighting each other? If rights had been assured to all, then why is everything being taken from us? If we no longer have to live in fear of violence or suffer any longer, then why am I so hurt, so afraid of violence and suffering so much pain? The girl, clothed in blood-stained rags, shed tears as if begging for an answer. They formed herds based on the shapes of their tails or ears, or on whether they had horns, or the color of their fur, and sneered at each other. Even if werebeasts were exploited by another race, if it was a different tribe, they'd gloat. Serves you right. With this theory in place, werebeasts had been playing games among themselves already for over 6,000 years. "This is wrong," she said. "Werebeasts shouldn't fight each other. They should help each other." The very young, and therefore wise, girl tried to speak out against the accepted theory with this kind of sensitivity in mind. "Weak pieces are to be seen and not heard," she'd been told, their petty hostility trampling over her. And so the girl, atop that nameless hill, robbed even of the power in life and death, lying drenched in blood, with the hazy remnants of her consciousness, stared at the giant chess piece, and finally understood. The 10 Covenants said, without permission, you shall not take, you shall not rape, you shall not kill. There was no mention of protecting the weak, much less even allowing weakness. Swindle them, deceive them, threaten them, use any means necessary. Once they are forced to consent, strike them, swindle them, violate them, kill them. That's all there is to it. The strong live and the weak die. The winners take all and the losers lose all. Right or wrong, the loser is not even granted the right to speak. If you don't like it, stop being a pawn and become a player. Expend your wiles and cunning. Seize the ability to do with others right as you please. Become a ruler, in other words. Yes, these rules majestically held aloft by the so-called one true God rewarded one's hands not for joining hands with others, but for striking them. It rewarded one's force not for shielding the weak, but for stomping them. This, indeed, was the theory. Perfect play meant attempting as much mutual domination as possible. With these rules, it went without saying. Had the world changed? Nothing had changed. It was merely a new formality before they murdered and robbed each other. Having finally grasped this reality, the girl simply laughed. A convention, by definition, was something used by the weak to confound the strong, a strategy which existed only to be blown to smithereens. Even this vile and nauseating theory of fate is no exception. In that case, the girl silenced her body, screaming in pain, and stood. I'll blow those conventions to smithereens myself. I'll build a game breaker, overturn their accursed conventions. If my game breaker itself exists only to be broken, that's fine. I'll break their conventions any number of times, have mine broken to infinity, until the very end. It's bound to be there. A convention that's rewarded one's hands not for striking, but for joining with others. A convention that's rewarded one's force not for stomping, but for shielding the weak. A convention that rewarded everyone not for just being pawns under the control of others, but for being players of their own. I'm sure to find it. No, I'll definitely find it. And so, that day, that moment, those conventions that brought her down, that she discarded, the girl glared at those who had put them in place and made her decision. If to carelessly defy convention was to fail, then I'll cunningly defeat it. I'll swindle, deceive, threaten, act more underhandedly, adopt even baser tactics, be all the more cunning in every single way. I'll put it off by any means necessary. Something even that arrogant fraud of a god who boasted of changing the world couldn't do. We'll change the world with our own hands. Yes, a preposterous dream lay in her heart, such as those only allowed to children. Now, back then, on that nameless hill, beneath that nameless shrine, the nameless Golden Fox girl sneered that she'd use everything permitted by the rules, just as the one atop that giant chess piece wished. And she embarked on a move that would overturn every single convention, or in other words, an unprecedented ruse. And so there rose a storm, one that uprooted over 6,200 years of civil feuds. An irresistible storm that blew away all rage and hatred, grudges and fetters. It even snatched away any room for struggle from those who tirelessly fought amongst themselves, and dissipated. A new nation was born. A nation that embodied a corner of her old dreams, her preposterous ideals. In a mere half-century, it came to be recognized far and wide as one of the world's greatest countries, the Eastern Union. The young Golden Fox was gone. Now she was called the Shrine Maiden, an entity feared by every werebeast. And the ruse she had contrived in her younger days was now. All right! Now, are you ready for the game to begin, you troublesome god? Where once the nameless Golden Fox had lain, on that nameless hill, at that nameless shrine, was now in Kanagari, capital of the Eastern Union. That spot was called by the name of the Shrine. Before the eyes of everyone who gathered there, the ruse they had called a god whirled forth pure and massive force. I did it. Are you happy now? I'm finally getting back into this, and I can't say I've definitely missed this a little. Especially jumping back in. I love how No Game No Life introduces each book with like kind of the monologue of whatever game or something they're doing. It really draws you in. I'm definitely glad I took a bit of a break though. I do think I needed it. I might have burned myself out quite a bit. But I will say I've definitely missed it. And at the same time, hindsight, I'm like, oh no, I wish I didn't take a break. No, it was probably good for me. I I have all the rest of the books. Actually, I don't know if I purchased all the rest. There's one of the reasons I'm promising to finish them, but another reason is I don't want to just like you get burned out with just one series. As much as I love ReZero, I need something else to balance it out. It's a perfect balance for me. Check that out if you haven't. It's good. Normally, I don't make a comment on one of these at the first part of a book. Wait till the end of the chapter now, but I wanted to get this out here because it's going to be a couple weeks before that. This first, it's not a chapter. This prologue's done because No Game No Life loves their long prologues. I think I'm going to leave you at that. Maybe I'll leave a bit more in the description about this. I don't want to make this too long. Thank you for watching or listening. If you still are. A like, subscribe if you're into it and you want to hear more. I am going to come out with more. And I suppose you'll hear from me more next time. Goodbye.